If you have written your Supreme Self Manifesto, congratulations. That's awesome. That's powerful. And until you activate it, until you cultivate it, it's just words. In this video, I will share with you the key, what's often the missing component of how to embody your supreme self, how to make it real. So you don't just know who you are, you live it. Now, when I was 15 years old, I was a fat boy. And I remembered it had stayed in my consciousness for a long time. My brother Dana, who was a state championship judo player. There were stories, there were legends about him. I remember my father saying when he took him to a judo club, and they moved to Portland, Maine, took him to the judo club, brought him to the sensei there and said, "This kid, you can't keep him down." And he was strong. I looked up to him. He was my big brother. So when I was 8, 10, 12, 14, fat, out of shape, ridiculed, bullied, all of that, I still wanted to be like Dana. And so I started judo classes at the local rec center, and this is in Virginia. And I went, and guess what happened? I was horrible, fat, sweaty. I couldn't do anything right. I stayed with it though. Eventually, I got connected with a high-level teacher, and I would actually a police officer who went to this judo club in Washington, D.C., would give me a ride on his motorcycle in there. Imagine this, me now 15-year-old fat boy on the back of the motorcycle with the police officer, right? This is in the 1980s. We went to Georgetown University, where Mr. James Takamori, I believe at that time, was seventh degree black belt, teaching. Thank goodness he was kind to me, because again, I was fat, I sweated, I was lazy. Every time there were drills, I was like over here trying to drink more water, pretend like I was thirsty, but really I was just lazy. Something I always remember from Mr. Takamori, right? He would walk around. I'm not a tall guy. I'm like 5'8". He came up to like here on me, right? And this is when I was 15. So I don't know. He was small guy. He would walk around, and he had not just he didn't have the black belt. He had the belt with the red and white stripes. Shihan, we called him. And we'd do these things they call fit-ins, or kazushi. I forget the actual Japanese name. It's been a little while. We'd do these fit-ins and practice over and over and over again. And he would walk around, and when we would stop, especially me, he would come up and he would whack me upside the head and say, "You stupid Americans, you think you do it 10 times and you have it." Sorry, not the right accent. And what he said was, when you do this throw 1,000 times, right? And this is very much like the Bruce Lee thing, right? And I fear not the man who knows 1,000 kicks. I fear the man who knows one kick he practices 1,000 times, something like that. What Mr. Takamori said is, once you practice a throw 1,000 times, you start to get an idea of it. So I stayed with it, and thank goodness, because I got pretty good. I got to be a competitor. I got to be a black belt. It took me a long time. I'm slow in my progress with that. It took me a long time. I stayed with it. Why am I sharing this with you? As related to your Supreme Self Manifesto, as related to why affirmations don't work and often make things worse? Well, it's this. Because activating and cultivating your Supreme Self, that's what this video is about, right? Or embodying it, if you prefer. Becoming it is most accurate. It's a process of conditioning. Just like physical conditioning, it takes time, it takes consistency, it takes repetition. Now, here's the thing. If You create a vision, a mission, a manifesto, right? Whatever you want to call it. If you create one of those, that is cool. That separates you from most people. Most people are not really imagining, thinking about developing their future self. And it actually can make things worse for you. How does that work? Because if you invest the time, and again, it's beautiful to do, it's beautiful to invest the time. Who do I want to be? What kind of life do I want to have? Dream big. I often say to clients and prospective clients, dream big. I'm super practical. For this exercise, though, dream big. If you do that, and then if you take the time, invest the time to actually write it down and get clear. Who am I? Who am I becoming? What do I want to have and create in my life? And then do nothing with it. Oh, that's painful, right? Because that's being an underachiever. That's what I was called, by the way, when I went from high school to college. I did well on test scores, but I didn't do well in some of my classes because I didn't do the work. Now, so what is this all about here? Activating, cultivating your supreme self? Well, it's a bit like my friend Onitis, who is a marathon runner. How do you do that? He's like, well, if you want to run a marathon, you got to do the miles, as in conditioning, repetition, practicing, consistency. A big challenge I see in personal and spiritual development, in business development too, actually, come to think of it. I see this a lot with clients and students. It's what is called imposter syndrome. You know what that is, right? Imposter syndrome is, I've got this vision, I've transformed, I learned this thing, I overcame this, and now I want to share, I want to teach, I want to help other people with it. But then the mind goes into something like, but I don't have it figured out. I'm not living it perfectly. I'm flawed. Who am I to do X, Y, and Z? Why would they listen to me? I'm not perfect. Right? Good news is turning into great news. And here it is. How do we overcome imposter syndrome? Yeah, well, one part, of course, is recognize it as confirmation that you're on the right path. That's cool. Second part is overcome imposter syndrome by not being an imposter, which does not mean you've got it all worked out, you've got it perfect. What it does mean is you're consistently on the path. You're, quote, doing the work. It's a practice, right? So hopefully by now you have written your Supreme Self Manifesto. If you haven't, go back, watch the last video. That's where the real shift begins, right? When you actually write it down. Again, though, writing, it's not enough. Knowing who you are doesn't change your life. Being that person does. And that's what this video is really about, right? GPS is an amazing invention. Do you realize there was a time when our phones didn't tell us how to get to our destination? We had to figure it out. But even with the amazing technology of GPS, if we plug in the destination and then get in our car, we can even turn the car on. If we do not take it out of park and put it into drive, what happens with the GPS? It just sits there, doesn't do anything. Or maybe if yours is advanced, it goes, hey, dude, start driving, because then I can tell you where to go. It's like that with manifesting your supreme self, activation and cultivation. And again, this is where most people fall off, because why? Maybe just as simple as it's work. It takes work, right? And remember me as the fat kid, as the underachiever, as the symphony musician. That's where I was headed. And I realized, I don't practice enough, right? This is learned. For me, it's learned, right? Maybe some people are good at it, but me, it's just taken me hitting my head a lot of times to learn this part. And what it is doing the work that gets us there, making it into a practice. Great book by Seth Godin called The Practice. Another way of speaking about it is creating your supreme self ritual. Maybe you know. Supreme self sacrament. right? And I started using that word long before I even kind of really knew what that was in Christianity. And the term isn't just exclusive to Christianity. What is a sacrament? It's a sacred thing that we do, a process, a ritual. So many people, especially in the spiritual, personal development, new age world, imagine, visualize, have big hearts, and then don't do the work. You know what that's called? Spiritual bypass, right? Awesome. If plant medicine is your thing, great. If you don't integrate it, worse than having done it. Here's how it goes. We are using the ultimate technology of being. And the irony is this video is a lot about doing, and it is about doing in order to be. So we do to create our being, and then our being creates our words, our thoughts, our actions, and the results we get. That goes back to the river of causality. So a ritual, something that you do repeatedly with intention. What matters is the intention that goes into it. And meditation, by the way, that's just one of the possibilities of what you can incorporate here. The core, the most important part of the Supreme Self Sacrament, or this, let's put it in really plain English, the stuff you do every morning in order to create your best life, right? Or self-creation practices. The core is using your manifesto. How do you use it? Right? Well, you speak it because you've written it, and then you speak it. And we'll go into more details about how you speak it and what you can do to squeeze more juice out of that speaking. And the main thing is speaking it. Writing it, also good. These are parts of how you activate it. So before we get into more details on the actual manifesto part, let's talk about the ritual part. I was speaking just yesterday with a client. I need some help with this part. Like I get excited about it. I know the idea is good, and then I don't do it. Why does that happen? Right. And he was speaking specifically about a framework I use called SPEM, spiritual, physical, emotional, mental. And here's what I suggest: that each part of your Supreme Self Manifesto, of your daily ritual, of your self-creation, that your process each morning includes spiritual, physical, emotional, mental. You get all of that in there in one way or another. But here's the main thing with your ritual is make it your ritual. Make it so it works for you. What does that mean? Make it so it works for you. Well, one, that you do it, right? Because you could design a really cool thing, and if you don't do it, not so much. And then you're going to feel guilty, lose energy thinking about what you should have done, right? All that stuff. Maybe shame. That was one of the things that came up with my client yesterday. Second, so one, make it so it's fun. How do you do that? Well, here's the first part. Highly recommend this. Make it romantic. This is what I do. Like I wake up before dawn and it's still dark. That's mystical, magical. It's quiet. Almost always I'm up before everybody else. And when I say everyone else, I mean my daughter, my friend, whoever is staying with us, not before my dog. She gets up right at the same time with me. Before the chickens, if ideally, get a lot of chickens around here in Hawaii. Before the birds, for sure. It's quiet. It's a mystical time, something special. What do? Light some candles. And I go through my, normal lemon water and, brush my skin and those things. I go through that stuff, and then I make my favorite special tea. I have friends, they like to make coffee. I make my special tea, have the candles lit. I have friends, they like to play certain music. Some people like to burn incense. I do that. What is it? Palo Santo. I do a little ritual. I light the candle. I light some Palo Santo. I feel the energy of that wood, that sacrament burning, and that smell. All of those sensorial pieces bring me into it, and I feel warm. I'm like, ooh, I love this. I love this part of the day. Right? So whatever that means to you, make it special, make it fun, make it romantic, make it yummy. Maybe it's your special place block it off, right? Do whatever you have to do. Make an agreement with your partner, with your children. I will wake up at least an hour early, usually an hour and a half or 2 hours early before my first commitment. So whatever it is, I say, hey, up until this time, don't bother me. I'm going to be locked away, right? And I get some privacy. I create that. People understand I'm a better person when I do it. It's good for everybody. So that's one. Two, get the sleep you need. When does your morning ritual start? The night before. These days, and this is another one, for me, it took me years to get to this. By 8:30, I am winding down. It's rare that 9 o'clock comes and I haven't closed my bedroom door and getting ready to lay down. If I get to bed, get to sleep near 9 o'clock, when 4 or 5 comes, I'm ready to go. I feel rested. And I've been there on the other side of it, right? Especially when I first got into yoga, discipline, make myself do that thing I don't want to do. Oh, dump the disaster of discipline, create true motivation. And part of that is be well rested. Remember the value, the importance of this process for you. Get enough sleep so you wake up rested for it. All right. What else? How do you make it, by the way, so it's something you want to do? Because it doesn't work to force it. It didn't for me. It doesn't for most everybody I know, right? Here's one of the ways I do it. My manifesto, right, which is who I am becoming. Ooh, best we speak a little bit about that. And when I say we, I mean me, though hopefully you're right there with me on this. Who I am becoming. Speaking with another client a couple days ago. Yeah, that's exciting. Who I am, who I'm becoming. Speaking with another client a couple days ago. I said, we talked about what he's creating. I said, who are you? I love it when I ask one of those questions and he goes, it's like this moment of like, woo, confusion. Who am I? And then he said, notice this. I mean, who am I now or who am I becoming? Woo, yes, more fireworks. It's so exciting because we are distorting time. We're creating by saying, who do I need to be? Who do I want to be? Who am I creating myself to be? So, what's my response to him? Watch out, there might be a sneeze coming. Well, at least I managed to mute the microphone. My response to him, yeah, that's the thing. Being precedes creation, manifestation. That's why a manifesto, who we are being, manifests in 3D reality over time. The more we be it now, the faster we become it, we see it, we have it. So in my manifesto, there is a line that reminds me who I am in relationship to my ritual, right? I use this manifesto to breathe life into my supreme self now. Abracadabra. I am that I use this manifesto to breathe life into my supreme self now. Abracadabra. Okay, let's break that down. Breathe life into my supreme self. Have you seen some business, brick and mortar business outside? They're attracting attention. They've got like a blow up figurine sort of thing. It's a balloon and it keeps getting air or helium or something into it. And you could see it. It's like a hot dog figure or something on the side of the road. And it goes, you know what I'm talking about? That's what we're doing with the sacrament. We are breathing life into our supreme self. So whatever your supreme self is, as evidenced by your manifesto, written down, codified, clarified, you're creating that state of being. You're breathing life into it. So the measure of your manifesto, right? All the flowery words, all the clarity that you might have written down don't mean diddly squat unless You breathe life into it. So the point is to take what's on the paper or in the document and bring it alive in your body, embody it, create that state of being in you now. And when you do that, especially repeatedly, condition it, that starts to become your new normal. That becomes who you are, not the old default, not the part X. You become who you really are. Okay. So I use this manifesto to breathe life into my supreme now self now. Abracadabra. What does that word mean? Abracadabra. Yes. The magician pulls the rabbit out of the hat. We think of it as a word from magic. It is. Though, as one of my mentors said, magic is only magic until you know the methodology. Aramaic language. Abracadabra. As I speak, I create. Through speaking, I create. Ooh, so exciting. Why? Because what we are learning right now is that when we speak intentionally, ritualistically, as a creative act, rather than how we're trained, how we're told is correct, which is to use words to describe reality, speak the truth and only the truth, right? Do not exaggerate. These are the things that a lot of us were told. I was told that, right? If you say something that's not true, can't see it, no evidence for it, then it's a lie. Don't tell lies. So, how does that fit with abracadabra? As I speak, I create. So, what do? We speak something that, quote, isn't yet in physical form as an act, not of describing what is, as an act of creating something new. That's how it works. That's how life works. That's how creation works. Do you get how cool that is? It's exciting, right? Okay. We speak it. Write it. I start every morning with writing some, and we can speak a whole bunch about the components that can go into your morning ritual. There are a lot of them. For me, writing, speaking my manifesto, and reflecting on it. More to come on that in a moment. I get some yoga in there. I usually get in the sauna, right? I have a walk with my doggy outside. There's some reading of spiritual literature. Other components can go in there. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. You develop yours. What's your ideal way of spiritual, physical, emotional, mental? Include those, stack those. Now, speaking is the most powerful way of conditioning that manifesto into embodiment. Because here's what happens when we speak, the words come out of us, right? Thought, word, action, right? From the ether into the vibration of sound becomes more real. Also, when we speak, words come out, they come back into our ears. We hear it. Now, the reflection part, very cool. Here's what we do. What you can do is when you speak, then listen. Speak the declaration. Speak the declaration, then listen. What does your body, mind, system do? What's your internal response intuitively to that? Do you speak it out and go, yeah, I am that? Heck yeah. In fact, yesterday, I nailed that. That's what I call collecting evidence. See, I already am that I'm becoming. I already am and I'm becoming it. I'm becoming even more of it because I'm associating to it now. I believe it more. What if, though, you speak it and you go, oh, I'm not really that. Yesterday, I didn't do that. I did the opposite of that. So here's one of mine. I usually say we are rather than I am. That's another story. Just so you know, though, we are unconditional love and prodigious patience. When I speak that out, I might say, yeah, you know what? I was really patient on that call yesterday. Or I might reflect back and go, yeah, I did not listen well in that moment. All right, I'll give you a more specific example. Another one of my declarations is, I am astounding authenticity, empty of exaggeration or need to impress. I am real. Now, a little while ago, I was on a coaching call. I was a client with a marketing coach of mine, and he was asking me questions. Okay, how did this go? How did that go? And I said, oh, yeah, it was really good. 3. Doesn't matter what the actual content was. I said 3, and then I realized, actually, I think it was really only 2. In fact, I know it was only 2. I was kind of wishing that third one was there, but it wasn't. Next morning, I'm speaking my declaration, reflecting on it, and I go, astounding authenticity, empty of exaggeration. Ooh, I exaggerated. Why did I exaggerate? So then becomes the opportunity. This is what my coach John calls psychological exfoliant. I love this part. And here's what can happen. This is what happens for me. We speak out who we really are, right? Free of the old patterns, free of part X. And then if we tap into, remember some part of us from before that didn't live up to that, yesterday I didn't do that, I exaggerated, it becomes like dissonant, like a grating. Oh, it does not feel good. It hurts. Like, oh, that's not right. Which is really helpful to become that. Because when I see when I'm not that, oh, that gives me the motivation. Pain is a good driver. It can be a good motivator, right? So we can reflect, collect evidence. Woohoo, I am that. We can reflect and go, yeah, I didn't really live up to that yesterday, which then means that tomorrow, when I'm on a call with my coach and he says, how many? Much easier for me to just to say the accurate number in this case, right? What else in that reflection? One last part really useful. When we speak our declarations, we speak it, and you could say that's like prayer, putting it out into the universe, broadcasting, and then we listen. What does the body have to say? The body keeps score. What does the body have to say? We can future pace. That's the term from NLP. We can look, imagine, place ourselves into the future, right? I am unconditional love and prodigious patience, right? I spoke that this morning. Shortly after this recording, I will be in my car driving through town, and there's a good chance there'll be some traffic, right? And I might, it's happened before, feel impatient, right? So when I say I am prodigious patience, unconditional love and prodigious patience, that's an aspirational declaration. I'm becoming that partially because I have struggled with patience in the past and in the recent past. So I can speak that declaration and then imagine myself into the future in my car, in traffic, breathing, listening to a book on tape or a favorite song or having a conversation or just being in the silence and loving the fact that I'm slowing down with the traffic, infinite patience. Are you with me? All right. So a little bit more. How to get the most out of the conditioning. This is the last part I got for you on how to build your activation and cultivation process, your sacrament, your ritual, your self-creation process. All of those terms are really good, by the way. They all give a different lens, a different flavor on what you're creating here. And by the way, in case I haven't shared with you lately, one, I love you. I love that you were here, that you're still with me on something this important, this vital to your life. That says so much about you. And I love that you are interested in and motivated for and doing something about creating a vibrant, thriving life. It changes the world. Thank you. I love you. 2, in case I haven't said it to you recently, for me, this is the distillation of 30 years of obsession with personal, spiritual, and business development. 30 years of my obsession with this stuff. Clients, students, myself as a guinea pig, $750,000 I've invested in coaches and teachers, the best ones in the world. I've taken all of that and it comes into this, comes down to this daily action. So the last part is, okay, so imagine you're doing it, right? You're in it. You're actually performing. Performing is not the right word. acting out, doing the ritual, engaged in it on a daily basis. I say performing on it because that kind of sounds like you're doing it for somebody else, and you're not. You're doing it for you, right? I do it for me, right? Sometimes I speak my declaration to other people, and that's a way to deepen it, my manifesto rather. That's great, but I'm not doing it for them. They get a benefit, mostly, a bigger benefit to me though. So we can imagine future pace. You're in it, you're doing it, you're engaged in the ritual. And so then the next question becomes, okay, it's fun, I'm doing it. How do I make it effective? Really effective. Yeah, fireworks on that one. Make it really effective. One, it's about being present. Effectiveness is about being present. As it says on the wall at the casino in Las Vegas, you must be present to win. So if we're reading, and that's one stage, reading out the manifesto, eventually I want to have it embodied to the point that you know it by heart. Memorizing probably comes before knowing it by heart. Knowing it by heart is a beautiful expression, though. It's beyond memorization. Either way, though, if you're reading it out loud, reciting it, or you're just speaking it because you've got it embodied, I won't say it's worthless if you're just saying the words without even being there for them, because it's not. It's worth something. It's not worth nearly as much, though, as when you speak it with great presence. But it goes kind of back to what I said before about that balloon metaphor, breathing life into it, becoming it. Sometimes I speak it very slowly. Sometimes I speak it in a very soft voice. Sometimes I speak it loudly. Sometimes I look in the mirror and look at my eyes and I speak it. Sometimes I do it with my eyes closed. Sometimes I go fast. And why do I do all of that? That variety, well, one, helps me stay engaged, present. Two, that variety also makes it more fun. It helps me to keep wanting to do it. What else? Bringing it into the physical. So when I speak my manifesto, I have gestures that go with it. That helps me to be more embodied with it. We are creating. Being matters most. Freedom, love, vibrancy. We are that. We breathe life. We use this manifesto to breathe life into our supreme self. Now, abracadabra. We are infinity and divinity, prophet, poet, mystic, one with God, surrendered to Him, friend and apprentice to Jesus. Right? These are the first words of my manifesto in its current incarnation. By the way, just in case, remember, your manifesto is yours. It might be short, it might be long, it might be flowery. It might have words like Jesus. It might have words like Buddha. It might have no words that have anything to do with any kind of religious figure. It doesn't matter. It's what lights you up. All right. Repetition. Right. There is a great value in using the same words over and over. It's going to evolve every time I look at a physical copy of my manifesto. It has the date because it changes. I just added something new 3 days ago. Right? It changes because we develop, we change, we grow. When we speak the same thing repeatedly, day after day, and multiple times a day, even better, right? It's the concentrated power of a laser. Right? It's like if you're going to chop down a tree, and I love trees, so I don't recommend this. If you take the axe and you hit here one day, and then here the next day, and over here the next day, right? You make very slow progress. However, if you hit in the same place every day, much more quickly do you make progress. Right? I think that's enough to say for now. Hope that gives you some ideas. Again, we've gone 5 feet deep We can go 100 feet deep in this. Powerful. Main things here, though, it's not about just writing it down. Success isn't about that. Success, becoming who you really are, it's about, yes, creating the manifesto and then activating and cultivating it so that you embody it, you become it. Right? Now, stay with me because I got one more video for you around this, which will bring it all together and ensure that you make good, steady, powerful progress in this. Again, I love that you are here. I love your dedication. I love that you are letting me share with you. Thank you for being here. Tune in again soon. I'll see you soon. I love you. Aloha.